So it worked.
Man, Digital Circuits have been quite a ride so far, with episode 5 being the most talked about and liked episode in the series. But also, a lot of people can't seem to figure out what episode 6 will be about. Today's countdown will be my top 6 things I think will happen in Digital Circuits episode 6. Take this as a grain of salt because this is just my personal speculation, not actual facts. Let's begin, and I hope you enjoy the video. Also, be on the lookout for flashbacks is definitely possible. So far we have only seen this in episode 3 with Kinger's background story. So much happened in episode 5 that hints at many possibilities of flashbacks. Like for examples, Jax and Ragatha's backstories, Jack's friendship with Ribbit, which is definitely confirmed at this point unless Gooseworks throws a curveball on us, or flashbacks of characters we never saw. It seems like it would be appropriate to do something considering the world building, lore, and continuity is very consistent in the Amazing Digital Circus. All I know is that a lot of people just like me are speculating for a while now. Let's just wait and see. I do like them going on adventures and all, but it would be nice for once to see them in an in-house adventure just like episode 1 and the stargazing segment from episode 5. There's just something very creative and well thought out mind put into the setting of the circus hallways. Maybe what happens is that we get a first or third person shooter style adventure, maybe in the circus hallways, grounds, and possibly Digital Lake, since it was confirmed by Gooseworks that episode 6 is a gun themed episode. We have episode 2, 3, and 5 foreshadowing it, considering all the episodes had guns shown briefly. Even crazier, the adventure would take place in the cellar, or Kane had distracted to come out of the cellar, and the cast would be hunting down the distracted by shooting them down, and winner gets the choice of the next adventure or their own preference of food. Or to make things even more messed up, Kane unextracts previous circus members and possibly NPCs like Gumigu. They have to be hunted down, which would result in the cast being traumatized beyond repair. The reason why I believe this is possible, despite being a commercial for merch, Kaufmo had a voice in it.
What's up, guys?
Plus, the machine could be a new character, and perhaps the machine can do anything it wants. I know it was just a goofy commercial and all, but I think the commercial has some hidden lore in it. I just feel like I might be slightly right. Now this is getting juicy. Gooseworks mentioned the show is geared for adults audience despite it being popular with children too. We can't ignore the fact the show has mild violence, plus brief blood and corpse imagery in episode 3, and censor swearing, innuendos, etc. throughout the series. I believe episode 6 will touch on heavy subject matters. As Gooseworks said before, episode 5 is Cecilia for the Storm, plus a joke expected to appear in episode 6. So I'm pretty sure it will talk about Jackson's relationship between his former friend. They'll probably get into a dense adult situations. What kind of relation did Jax have with his former friend? Was it romantic, platonic, or like a sibling type of bond? Maybe it is possible that Jax drove Ribbit to abstraction, and then that pushed him or her to the limit that made Ribbit go that route. It is also mentioned by Gooseworks the episodes will have, but not limited to, references to hell, suicide, dark themes. I think this will be the most controversial episode yet. It's because Gooseworks said that in a tweet that YouTube would probably have censored some of the episodes on YouTube, while Netflix will have the uncensored episodes. It makes me think that the episode 6 and beyond the show gets a lot darker. Since it is inspired by the book, I Have No Mouth I Must Scream, I'm starting to get chills since the book is extremely dark and scary after reading some bits of it online. I mean, this section is brief, but I believe that episode 6 will have characters return for a short while. Like I mentioned earlier in entry 5 of the video, the characters could temporarily return. And willing to bet characters like Queenie, Ribbit, Kaufmo, and even Gummy Goo will temporarily return for this adventure as either flashbacks or players that gotta be hunted down with the guns only for the sake of this adventure. The evidence on why I think this is the theory I believe is true, because if you look at the ads of the baseball game, you can see Kaufmo tires and Gator Goo from Gummy Goo. I know that some people will be like, this is just a fun Easter egg, but Gooseworks wouldn't just put that there in plain sight. Plus, 2 plush commercials had Gummy Goo return for one, and most recently Kaufmo as well. Sure, it sounds like speculation, but considering episode 6 is the silly before the storm, it's definitely very possible these deceased characters could temporarily return just for the gun adventure. This one is pretty obvious. If you notice, each episode in Digital Circus is a standalone story. It only makes references to previous episodes. But with episode 5, this is the first time Digital Circus episode ends on a cliffhanger. Jack's going to show Pomni something in the hallway, Kinger, Zooble, and Gangle walking beside each other doing their own thing, and then Ragatha walking outside, which was later revealed by Glitch. And then this mannequin who keeps spying on the cast, who is he or she? An NPC? An AI? Or a circus member reincarnated? Who knows? I often like episodes that have a connection from where the last episode left off, which is confirmed by Gooseworks to be the case. So, with that being said, let's move on to the elephant in the room. So this is a tricky thing to talk about. Everyone has 1 trillion theories on who's the next circus member to abstract, but I'll be listing on who will abstract from least and most likely, and reasons why they won't. No one may in episode 6, but a good chance of it happening now is very possible. The least likely to abstract is Zooble. I believe this despite being insecure and happy about her body. She seems like the most calm, mild, and stoic member of the group. And I think her not always participating in Kang's adventures is probably what keeps her from going that route. Second least likely to abstract, which I think people might disagree with me on, is Kinger. Yes, he seems the most likely and too many times I'm abstracting, but hear me out. Despite his wife falling to abstraction, I think his time in the darkness clears his head and keeps him sane and level-headed. Even his paranoid dementia-like state might help him to survive too. Him also being in the circus the longest gives him that advantage. Next will be the middle ground characters that could swing both ways to abstract. Starting off with this list is Jax. His trauma for losing his friend and or friends sure could be a valid reason to abstract. But his whole personality is probably what keeps his psyche in place. Even when Ragatha brought up his old friend, I don't think that's enough for him to crack. Similar to Zooble and Kinger, Jack has a coping mechanism in order to avoid that route, which is being a jerk to people. Next character in the middle ground of abstracting is Pomni. This is mostly because she is the main character and protagonist. She balances out everything, being able to be friends with everyone for the most part, and probably the most normal and level-headed of the entire gang, which could keep her from abstracting. Plus, she doesn't seem mentally disturbed. Now it's time for the highest chances of abstracting. Gangle is very highly possible despite how episode 4 ended with her accepting her sadness. Yes, she is building a bond with Zooble, which shows no signs of stopping. But there is one key factor that would make her snap. That is the aforementioned figurine thing. For some reason, she doesn't want Ragatha to find out. She rammed to another truck all because Jack's a blackmail on her in episode 2. And in episode 5, she was willing to skip her own suggested anime adventure because Jax brought it up again. Who's to say if someone eventually finds out Gangle's dirty little secret that could cause her to abstract? Yes, it may seem like a small thing, but it really isn't. Sometimes people will hurt others or themselves to make sure a secret never gets let out. Plus, before Pomni offered to close up the night at McDonald's, Genka looked like she was at her breaking point, looking sad and about to abstract. Last but not least, and the elephant in the room, is good old Ragatha. She's the optimist of the group. Nice, tries to be understanding, and will go out of her way for anyone even if she doesn't feel like it. Even people who are always polite have limits. Episode 5 is proof of that. Notice the little outburst she had at Jax and even Pomni. Even Pomni seemed shocked by this aggressive side of Ragatha. At the end of the episode, everyone else walks in different directions with each other while Ragatha stands alone by herself walking outside. Too many signs I've seen and other fans of the show have seen. Episode 2 has her shadow reflection looks like the colors of abstracted eyes. And in episode 5, her hair glitches for a brief moment while she's walking away and apologizing to Jax. Sure, the animators say these are animation errors, but I think they say that so they don't spoil later episodes. Plus, I feel like Ragatha never fully recovered despite Kane fixing her up in episode 1. And then also, when they are walking down the hallway, she looked like she was on the brink of abstracting. I really hope she doesn't abstract since she is my favorite character, but I can't pick favorites unfortunately in this case. The poor doll face will sadly succumb to abstraction. At the end of the day, this is 100% speculation, and nothing is factual of what I just theorized in this video. Gooseworks says that nobody can guess what episode 6 will be about, so I'm hoping I'm 100% wrong because I like being surprised. I made this video as quick as I could because episode 6 will be teased soon at San Diego Comic-Con. If any of you are going to San Diego Comic-Con, please don't spoil or say anything online until an official teaser release is on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, etc. Glad you all made it this far into the video. Been wanting to make another digital circus video for quite some time. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I have one more episode left of Shnobbs Countdown Season 7, so stay tuned. With that being said, cue the outro.